All right, everyone. We are going to be recording this, and I'm going to probably premiere it tonight. It has been officially declared that Evo Morales has resigned as president of Bolivia. Now, if you've been following this channel for a while, I used to do a whole lot of content on Latin America, but more so with regards to Nicaragua, and the main topic would probably be Venezuela. But I'm actually a little distracted today. Maybe some other time I could do something a little more wide about it, more all encompassing. But long story short, Evo Morales has been in power since 2005. Earlier in, I think it was 2016 or 2015, he tried to push through a constitutional amendment that would entitle him to unlimited terms in office, and it failed to go through. But there was a ruling in the Bolivian Supreme Court, which was mostly packed with his supporters, that allowed him to run for unlimited terms. So he was running for his fourth term in office this year, and he had apparently won enough in the election to bypass a recount. What do you call it? Not a recount, but a runoff. So in several countries, if you are able to reach 50% of the vote, you don't necessarily have to have a full referendum or runoff. You can simply have it go straight to confirmation or inauguration of the candidate that wins first place. Now, there was a massive outcry among supporters of the opposition, and I'm not going to necessarily say that I believe entirely that Morales rigged the election until I actually see a little more details about what's going on. But the fact is that he has pretty much folded. His regime has collapsed, and I would say I'm taking a little bit of a cautious attitude to this one. Do I like Evo Morales? No, I don't. I don't support any of his policies. Then again, I also don't support American intervention in Latin America. This, I would say, is not really in keeping with the most extreme level of intervention. And it's very easy to say why. There's no American forces, to my knowledge, or in any media source that I've really seen, that have testified that American forces are located in Bolivia doing anything. Now, there are a lot of people rioting and burning down houses and properties of people affiliated with the Morales regime. And then there are rumors also from the opposition groups that Morales' supporters are rioting and trying to do a scorched earth strategy. You're never going to get complete unanimity on what's happening. In fact, you can see a lot of tweets from people like Ben Norton where they're complaining about, oh, this is a fascist coup. And then on the other hand, you have a lot of people, many of them who are Bolivian, talking about how this is the end of this communist dictatorship. They call it a communist dictatorship. I would say that the truth is that Morales is a little more mild of a dictator, or a more mild leader, than some of the other, what do you call them, Bolivarian leaders, the pink tide people. He's not quite as heavy handed as some of the other ones that have been there, especially Hugo Chavez. But you do see this tendency among his supporters to believe that he's completely bereft of any responsibility for what's happening, and that people need to get behind him. You see people who are calling for Bernie Sanders to, let me see if I can find it. There were people earlier who were saying, oh, Bernie Sanders has to comment on this. Well, if I was anyone around the world, I would try to at least figure out who's correct. I'm reading this on Twitter right now, even though I'm banned from Twitter. So, but what are you going to do? It's the best place to find the most up to date stuff. This person, for example, who is a leftist from Florida, a dream defender, in fact, is saying, I am sick. When will we live in a world free from imperialism in the United States of America, with 3Ks? Once again, U.S. directly backed and financed the coup d'etat. We stand in solidarity with the indigenous people of Bolivia and Evo Morales. And then you have other people, Ajit Singh, hardcore leftist affiliated with Gray Zone, in fact. Gray Zone and a lot of these other organizations, Gray Zone, Real News, you could say, obviously, Telesur, which is the state-run media in several of these countries. They're, of course, taking Maduro's, or sorry, not Maduro, but Morales' side, partially because Bolivia, I believe, actually has a stake in Telesur, just like some of the other left-leaning governments in the past have. This is apparently, according to many sources, I mean, you see here somebody tampered with it, but this is apparently the presidential jet, and Morales has, according to several reports, attempted to flee Bolivia, but there's no country that will give him clearance of the airspace because he's also a wanted person in Bolivia. I would say it's a tough call. Sometimes when you're in a time of deep transition, like is going on right now, it doesn't necessarily make sense to go all out and try to arrest this person and then possibly lead to even more bloodshed. It might make sense to let him go into exile. You let people, I guess, make a determination who they're going to support. You're not going to win over left-wing people with left-wing values. They're always going to believe that Morales did nothing wrong. There's actually right now, apparently, an assault on the Venezuelan embassy in Bolivia.
Y la embajadora de Venezuela en Bolivia denuncia un ataque a la sede diplomática. Escuchemos un fragmento de sus declaraciones a nuestra cadena.
Nosotros estamos bien, pero se tomaron la embajada. Esto es quieren hacer una masacre con nosotros. Por favor, necesito que denuncien. Un abrazo enorme y bueno, fuerza. Ayúdenos a denunciar esta barbaridad que está cometiendo esta gente irracional.
So that you could hear was basically the Venezuelan ambassador to Bolivia saying that they meaning the crowds have taken over the Venezuelan embassy in Bolivia. This effectively is, I would say, now a chaotic situation. What had happened was that the police had gradually abandoned Morales. The military decided not to take action to secure his government, and he didn't have a chance after that, and he's had to run away. Now, it could happen like happened in 2002. This is what people don't remember. In 2002, in Venezuela, the government was overthrown by an actual coup by members of, I think it was the Fede Camaras, which is the Chamber of Commerce in Venezuela, and the military had helped them. And then a few days later, Chavez's loyalists took control again. What has to happen in order for this action, whether you call it a coup, whether you call it a revolution, to come to full circle, is that they have to get him kicked out of the country. And arresting him actually gives him possibly a path back to power. And I'll say that we can't decide for Bolivia which way they're going to go. So I don't think that it's a great idea for the U.S. to be too involved in this. And by the way, if he gets arrested, not only could there be a situation where he comes back to power because one of the coup plotters or the military decides, oh, we should stick with him because he's the person who gives us the most security. There could be the opposite thing happens. It could be that he gets murdered, right? That's also not really something that, if you're a libertarian non-interventionist, I don't necessarily support the extrajudicial assassination. I don't support. It's not that I don't necessarily support. I don't support the extrajudicial assassination, the murder of people. Even Evo Morales, who is accused of killing some people. I believe there were a number of protesters that were killed, mostly miners, I believe, meaning coal miners, some miners for, I think, lithium companies, a number of other minerals. So that's about it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also subscribe to me on BitChute and on Subscribestar, as well as Minds. All those are with the tag @ChefLeopard, and on Gab @Starscream85, and I'll talk to you later.